earlier. We see the flinching. They get very agitated when voices get raised. And there's a perpetual feeling that you're walking on eggshells, and you will do anything in your power, even as a small child, to make it so that abuse doesn't happen. 8, abusers are never loving to their partners. That is a myth. Because that time frame, the honeymoon frame, and when he originally charmed her in, he does have that capacity. At some points, she thinks he is the most wonderful, fantastic, charming guy, and he brings me flowers, and so when he hits me, then something nice happens afterwards, and he makes up for it. He can't control himself. So sometimes, victim, you find yourself making excuses for your abuser. Number 9, domestic violence is a family problem, and the family should solve it. 90% of violent crimes against the elderly are domestic violence in nature. 95% of domestic violence in relationships is against women. 40% of teens report they have been physically or sexually abused in a relationship. And this type of behavior is criminal if it took place on the street. If I walked up to you on the street and punched you in the face, I would be prosecuted. Just because it happened in our home and we're married doesn't mean it's any less not okay. I'm using my really technical classroom. That's not okay. Domestic violence is just between spouses. Yeah, it doesn't, once you put the ring on, it doesn't say woohoo. It can happen before then. And some women are pressured into marrying their abusers through the whole pressure of the cycle of violence. And so they maybe don't really even want to go forward and get married, but they feel like they have no other option. Drug and alcohol cause domestic violence. Perpetrators abuse their partners or spouses because of substance abuse. Yes. Drugs or alcohol can be used as an excuse to abuse, where people say they abuse because they are under the influence, or they're abusing because they want to get their medication in the form of the substances they're using. So it's not the catalyst, but sometimes it often plays a very integrated role. Victims of domestic violence have a psychiatric mental health condition. People who are distressed exhibit signs of anxiety, fear, anger, agitation, and many other emotions. So it might seem like they have a mental health condition. A woman who is living in a domestic violence situation can go into her doctor's office and say, I feel really anxious, blah, 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 and the next thing you know, she's walking out with a prescription for antidepressants and Lexapro. But it all makes sense because, my house is done. He told her she was crazy. And so she believed it. And so the fact that she's very anxious and doesn't, is walking on those eggshells all the time and very nervous about being home and going home, that is not because she has a generalized anxiety disorder. She has anxiety about going home because she doesn't want the abuse to happen anymore. She's going to do everything in her power to stop it. So, this is her book. That's the same thing you just did. So I have a little bit of data about some of the things that, and this is all, I don't know, is this one in their work book or not?
It might be. Yeah.
It might be. I'm also the URSA person at work, so I love it. So just in our country alone, 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence during their lifetime. Okay, you have it. Does anybody have any questions about the statistics? Is there anything that you're read through it and see if there's anything that's surprising to you that you're like, hey, I didn't know that, or I never even thought of that. Because that 1 in 4 figure was really surprising to me at one point. It isn't at this point in my life after spending as much time as I have in this field. So I'm surprised it's not more than 1 in 4 actually. But we do know that there's a large number of domestic violence incidents that
where domestic violence is most likely to occur between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Why?
That's when you're, a lot of times that's when you're home. So when the abuser and the victim are in the house together, which those hours when you come home from work or dinner, most people are on the schedule of, being out during those working hours and then coming home. And so that's when that typically will happen. Maybe if everybody worked like, the night shift or something, it would be different. But a lot of times it's going to happen when they're home.